What's up, guys and gals? Your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys the latest chapter review for Ayakashi Triangle, chapter number 60. 60 chapters, and a lot of people not really liking this series from everything I've read on Discord and Reddit and yada yada yada. It's really not doing that well, but somehow it's still ongoing. So a lot of people saying that Hunter's Guild Red Hood and some of these other series are going to be axed before they even start. Just take a look at this, 60 chapters, and from all the polls that I've seen, they're not exactly doing the best, but I mean, you know, they have the opportunity with 60 plus chapters to be able to actually get something started, and we just had our first popularity poll by the looks of it, and honestly, very surprised that Suzu wins the first spot. I thought it would be clearly Matsuri, but Matsuri wins second place, and also Lucy and Roka are in third and fourth. So, and then Shirogane in fifth, like realistically, I suppose there's not really a huge cast to choose from necessarily, but I'm sort of shocked by these choices. I'm a little shocked, not so much for first, second, and fifth, but Roka and Lucy being third and fourth. That's sort of weird, but anyways, I guess here we go. So either way, the chapter itself, I'm actually a little biased against this chapter. And I'll tell you why. Because at first I thought we were going to have a little bit of talk no jutsu, right? And it was going to awaken, in this particular instance, not really talk no jutsu when you think about it. Because, of course, the Shadow Mai is infecting and taking over and possessing Suzu's body in this chapter, right? So if Matsuri can awaken, of course, she loves him, he loves her. It's pretty easy to understand that the power of love will solve everything. That's classic shonen, that's classic shoujo, and I'm fine with the idea that love triumphs over that kind of shit, or triumphs over evil, you know? I've been reading, like, that's fairy tales, that's everything, you know what I mean? So I'm good with that. I really am. That's not what's upsetting me. What's upsetting me is that I thought we were going to have, I called it talk no jutsu. It's not really, because it's not to that extent. But right here, I was hoping for that to be enough, you know? And I know we're 60 chapters in. I know they've been in very compromising situations. But once again, this is an R-rated manga, so what have you? Fine dandy. But then it just jumps straight into Matsuri kisses Suzu. Now, the reason I have a problem with this is not that it's not a good tactic, and even the mother acknowledging that it's a bold move even in front of your mother. Shirogane said the same thing, like, no, this is quite shameless, but if then they realize that Matsuri's actually using this to get in close and use the impurity absorbing fan jutsu technique to be able to trying to suck out the Shadow Mai, the Jinyo version of Mai, out of Suzu's body. And I was like, okay. So once again, a little biased about this. I'm a little biased about this. And the thing is that from the time I got into anime till now, kisses in shonen especially were very significant, you know? It was a long, like people complain about, like, comedy shows and the will they, won't they trope from Friends, from The Office, from How I Met Your Mother, for any Big Bang Theory, for all these, you know, primetime and daytime stuff. It's always will they, won't they, and it only takes relatively couple of seasons, if that, right? Manga is quite a bit different. We wait years for that to culminate. We wait years for that major thing. And it's only 60 chapters, you know? I mean, hell, Inuyasha went for over 500 chapters. 500 chapters. So, you know, and that's like the OG. That's in my mind, in my childhood, that's the original shonen mixed with romance manga. It's still one of my favorites. And even then, we did have a movie that did this. There was, you know, one side's evil, one side's not, spoiler alert, but one of the movies finally had the kiss. And it was a major big deal, right? For the fans, because everybody shipped the main characters, you know, and I'm not saying that this isn't a bad ship. It's black and white, pretty obvious. But the thing is that, is it deserved? You know, this should happen I mean, maybe the series won't go on. I can't see this being a 300 chapter manga, but this should have been post chapter 100 in my opinion. It's sort of, in my mind, sullying, and I said I was biased, but it's sort of sullying all the mangas that have done this before, that came before this one, and they wait end of series, movie, 300 plus chapters in, you know, like, this sort of stuff doesn't happen, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm just using Inuyasha as a great example because it's one of the longest running ones that did this, right? That took a very long time, over 500 chapters for this type of shit to go down. So, for me personally, and I'm just using that as an example, but for me personally, I feel like unless this series is going to end in the next 20 chapters, this is a little undeserved. Like, I understand it when it happens in a one-shot. I understand when it happens in one of my favorite mangas, W Change, was only like 31 chapters. So we needed to have this sort of thing happen within 31 chapters. It was a short story. Right here, though, I don't know. I'm not sure. As I said, I'm a little biased about it, but I didn't expect this, and I don't think it's a deserved. I think it works, and if people are going to be happy, of course, because they kiss. And you could argue on the other side of the thing, well, yeah, that's the thing. Manga takes way too long for the main characters to get together. But I would argue that daytime television and primetime television do it too quickly. And then they need to create unnecessary drama and wrenches because you can't have a whole season where everybody's just happy. Right? That's not going to sell. People aren't going to watch people just going around being happy with no antics, right? That's why it's always end of series stuff. And here I just feel like little undeserved. And I mean, it doesn't necessarily, it does work because then Mai uses it to use the power of life to wither Matsuri from within. It's like, oh, it's clearly working, but then Mai tries to do this, but it does not work because Suzu walks around with, and I was correct, this version of Suzu is the memories. This version of Suzu, the little girl version, the long-haired version, is the memories of all the Ayakashi mediums up to this point, including Mai. And she gets very upset by this because we jump into a flashback about it and says, like, she heard Matsuri's voice and all that stuff. But I know that we're in the middle of a kiss, and then, of course, and she's like, could you please get out of my body right now? Like, I've been waiting for this. Like, we're kissing right now, and it's sort of like, I'm missing the moment, you know what I mean? Like, so could you please get out of the body? And of course, this forces her to actually, the powers are working together and forcing, and then she realizes that it's the embodiment of all her power, the power that Mai once had, the power of all the Ayakashi mediums, saying it's your doing, the true personality of Suzu. That's a weird way to state it, technically speaking, because Mai herself had her own personality and unlocked every Ayakashi medium, from what I understood, unlocked the memories later in life. Like, they unlocked them, you know, but they still had their personalities when they were children, and then they eventually unlocked the power of the Ayakashi medium fully in the form of memories. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I believe, that most of them unlocked them. Maybe it was 5 years old, maybe it was 8 years old, maybe it was 10 years old, but Suzu has not unlocked them at all, and that's very, very strange, because Mai still was her own person, but yeah, so that could be a translation thing, I don't know. But either way, says, it's because you're not doing anything that I have come to destroy all the humans because of you. And then she basically responds to the Shadow Mai saying that after I reincarnated into Suzu, I met Matsuri and thought to myself, once more, I'm going to try believing in humans again as a normal girl who doesn't have the memories of the past reincarnations. I mean, and basically what she's trying to say is, look at what happened to you as a result of constantly having all the memories of the past reincarnations. It's a cycle of despair and grief and hatred. Maybe it's time we stopped this, you know what I mean? So that's basically what she's saying in not so many words. I wish this conversation had gone on longer, because I feel like that's what's implied here. And basically, like, Mai blames her for this, saying that I exist because of you and all your memories. All my hatred is from generations of Ayakashi mediums being mistreated, being hated, being not understood, and no matter how much we try, it's your fault that I'm here, that I'm like this. And she does say sorry, but at the end of the day, it's sort of like, I gotta try something new. I had to end it somewhere, and I'm sorry it wasn't you, but that's just the way it is. So then they fully have a kiss and stuff. And once again, very biased against this sort of thing. It's like, oh my God, she comes back in the middle of a kiss, and then they fully embrace and they kiss, and I'm just like, sort of undeserved. Sorry, I've been reading manga for years. I remember growing up waiting for my main characters to kiss. For some series, I had to wait almost 10 fucking years or more to see my main characters finally kiss. And I'm a romantic at heart. I'm just like that. I'm built like that. So, I'm a softie at heart. So I want to see that shit. I want to see them finally together. I love watching the romantic episodes. You know what I mean? So, for me personally, feel like this is undeserved. Not too happy about that direction, but I recognize that that's my bias. Is this a good chapter? I don't know, relatively speaking. Either way, she does get pushed out, and actually, Matsuri's mother brought Soga, Ninokura, into this shit. So, Soga comes out, tries to attack, boom, but then, of course, Sosuke Hinojiki, in his childlike form, stops the attack. Just at the last minute, manages to block the attack and everything, and Mai ends up getting away. So, unfortunately, this is actually a good part of the chapter, that we weren't one and done with this villain, because we've been hyping up this villain. It's about time we had someone outside of Hinojiki, who was ironically here as well. It's nice that we finally got a more staying around for more than 2 chapters villain. Right? Like, this is a good thing. This might be an ongoing thing. So that much, at least, is very good. So this is where they, of course, are both embarrassed about the kiss and stuff. And Shirogane is just sort of like, oh, yeah. Like, oh, so shameless. So shameless. But either way, but actually, he said that was Mont Blanc. So it's sort of like, is he like, you know what? Not shameless this time. It's good. So who knows? But either way, I actually really enjoyed the part about finally recognizing that my theory was right, that the Suzu personality, the little girl version, is the reincarnations all there locked away on purpose. So I was right about that. That was pretty cool in this chapter. Once again, maybe this was a good chapter. I'm not sure. I'm too biased against the direction they took it too early. But what did you guys think of the chapter? Like, comment, and subscribe. As always, it's always very much appreciated. Don't forget to drink responsibly, as always, as your host with the most, Griever, always does. And we will see you guys back here again next time for chapter 61 of Ayakashi Triangle. Looking forward to it, ladies and gentlemen. Peace out.